Yeah. Hi, Wilma. How are you?
Hello, good evening. I'm fine. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
And we would like to know about, let's start from childhood. When Wilma born? Where she born? How was the school? Let's start talking from the childhood. Give us an
I'm from a
opportunity to know you better.
yeah, okay. Okay, I'm from a very simple and small village in the Netherlands. If I tell in the Netherlands the village, no, hardly anyone has heard from this village. It was it's in the forest. So I was born in the you can say in the forest. I was a naughty child, very
Mhm.
naughty. Went to a very
And
simple school. I loved bicycling. I was playing in the forest, hiding myself. I didn't like to do my homework.
okay.
But one thing I always wanted to do, I don't know why, but I always wanted to explore the world. So when the first time I saw this
Hmm.
world map, then I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go everywhere. I want to see the whole world. That was my plan, I think, already when I was a child. And I thought, if I become a journalist, I can do it.
Hmm. That's wonderful. So you had your education, basic education in those forest areas, right? In the small town.
Yeah, I went there to the elementary school and the primary school. And then later on, I went to, when I was 18, I left my parents' house for always. Then
Okay.
I became a student. I did journalism, then
Okay.
anthropology.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started working and I never went back to my parents. I was living on my own since I was 18 years old. That's something that hardly happened in Pakistan, but that's in the West, it's normal. When you finish your high school, you go to university, you're on yourself, you are a grown up, and you
Mm-hmm.
start living on yourself. Yeah.
Okay. And then you choose journalism as your career
Yes.
and
Yes, my
started with a
father was
newspaper.
always, yeah, my father was always reading papers and was always watching all kinds of news programs. We had a lot of discussions at home, also
Mm-hmm.
fights about
Mm-hmm.
what was going on. I think it was my father who was giving me all this inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I moved to this last house, I found in a box all my diaries. I was always writing. I wanted to, I think, perhaps not first a journalist, but becoming a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I went. I went to the school of journalism, and when I was 22, I started working first for the radio station,
Mm-hmm.
and later on, when I was 35, I left the Netherlands almost 20
Hmm.
years ago to become a correspondent, first in Indonesia.
Okay. And from Indonesia.
From Indonesia, I went after 7 years. I went to India, to Delhi,
Okay.
and
Wonderful.
I was the first television correspondent for the national television in Delhi, so India. So I could
Hmm.
travel for 5 years. I was living there. I went through whole India. I went to Bhutan. I went to Sri Lanka. I went to Nepal, and of course, since 2006, I'm already coming to Pakistan. So I often was here.
So basically, you started journalism and then you were appointed as the correspondent in Indonesia.
Yes,
From there, you
yes,
moved to India, lived there for
yes.
5 years, and then in 2004 or 14.
Yeah. Then I moved back to Indonesia for a couple of years.
Okay.
Then I wanted to become a freelancer, no contracts anymore, not working for the Dutch television or radio. Then I call myself a super freelancer. I was working for magazines, radio, television. I was doing video online, writing a book. I was free as a bird. I think that's the best thing in the world if you can if you can if you can reach that stage that you can make your own choice, that you want to write a story, that you want to do this.
Yeah,
That's yeah, that's the
that
best thing in
that's
life, really.
yeah, True, true. I agree. I 100% agree. And then when you came, what was the year when you came here in Pakistan?
It was in 2015. Yeah.
It was so now five
Yeah.
years.
Yes, I'm here now for 5 years.
So almost reaching to the reaching to get your nationality, Pakistani nationality or Pakistan passport.
No, because I'm still an observer. I will never become a Pakistani. I like to be an outsider. No, no, I'm not an outsider. That's too much. That's not true. I'm an
Yeah.
insider. I have so many Pakistani friends. They are sisters and brothers. It's like a family for me. But I like to observe. I like to analyze. I like to see what is going on.
That's wonderful. And here you were again a freelancer journalist, right?
Yes.
And then you
Yes.
started writing a book, and the book
Yeah.
was about transgenders and Sufis in Pakistan.
Yes.
It's
It's
very
a
interesting.
wonderful combination, eh? A wonderful
Yeah,
combination.
it's a wonderful combination. Today I was talking with one of my friends in America, Jonathan Granoff. He is a very well known lawyer there in Philadelphia, and he is working with UN, and he is doing a lot of stuff. Uh, Randomly, we discussed your interview, and again, when it came to the book, and I told him that she wrote a book on transgenders and Sufis in Pakistan. So Jonathan had a laugh. He was just like, and again, the topic was interesting. How it came in your mind to connect these two things, or like transgender? I can make it. It makes a sense to write a book on transgenders in Pakistan. On the other hand, it makes a sense to write a book in on Sufis of Pakistan. But combining the two different things in a package, what was the thought process behind it?
It's a process. I also I never thought about this combination. I was doing a story about the LGBT sector in Pakistan, and then I met Usma,
Okay.
and Usma was in a kind of how can I say it? I think call it a kind of gang, a friendly, strong gang with all kinds of women, gays, lesbians, but also transgenders. And then I found out how exceptional in Pakistan, but also in India, how many transgenders you have here, but also the problems they face. I was shocked. To be honest, I was shocked listening to their stories, how they were kicked out of their houses. But I also find out that the only place where they feel where they are accepted are in the Sufi shrines, especially on the Thursday evenings. What for us the Sunday is when we go to the church, or for the Muslims is on Friday when they go to the mosque. It's on Thursday evening are the Sufi shrines. And when I start reading about Sufism, when I start reading about this whole background of transgenders, I did interviews, and then slowly, I found out there is a combination, because in the shrines, you are the Sufi, so you know how liberal you are, how accepted you are, how warm you are, that you don't have any opinion, and that's what transgenders feels. If they go to the shrines, they can dance, they can hug each other, they can feel the way they are. And then I went one day with Inaya, she's the main character of my book. I went to the Bari Imam. I wanted to see if I went openly with her to a shrine, how people were reacting on her. And there were women in an abaya, completely in black. And I asked them, I said, this is Inaya, she's my friend, she's a transgender, what do you think about her? And they start kissing her, they start hugging her. And then I said, what do you feel about her? And then they told me, they said, for us, transgenders are children of God. They are children of Allah, because they don't have a gender. Allah doesn't have a gender, and that's the reason they are so connected with with our Allah, and that's the reason also why we love them.
That's true. That's the basic philosophy we have. That's right. And as Sufi, I know that we think that we are the lowest of the lower. So everyone in the world is better than us. So we don't have any space, and I personally don't have. I feel like that in this short span of life, you don't have enough time to love. How can
True.
you hate someone? It's very short time that you born and die in a short span of life. There's no enough time to love everyone. So how can you get some time to hate anyone? Okay, from Inaya, you had this experience, and then you thought to write a book on transgenders and Sufis in Pakistan. And the book
Yes.
was, by the way, in Dutch, right?
Yeah. It's first in Dutch. Yeah.
And now, hopefully, there is some activity going on the translation of the book in English or Urdu. Are you thinking like that?
Yeah, I have sent because I interviewed a lot of transgenders for my book, and they have the stories are heartbreaking, but also very honest. So I first want them to read very carefully what's written about them. If they want to be mentioned by their own name, if I can use all the quotes and all the stories what they have told me, because you see with a lot of transgenders, you are an open person, you understand this, but there are a lot of Pakistani who don't understand because they have their judgment. Transgenders are not accepted, still not accepted. You can make all kind of laws, but as long the culture doesn't change, there's hardly no place for them in this society. There's no, and they are often what I saw with Inaya also. It's so many transgenders I've interviewed. They are highly intellectual. They have, because they are the combination of men and women. They have the soft sides. They have the smart sides. They even, you can say, perhaps they are the best persons in the world because they have all the characters. I also read during the Mughal era that at the High Court, at the Supreme Court, often a transgender had the highest position because not only of the emotions, but also of the brains. The women I interviewed, they were telling me also that often, as a start, they needed to dance. They even had to do prostitution to get their source of income as children. And not every transgender could finish their school because they were kicked out by their parents. There was no place where they hardly could live. What I also, one of my conclusion is how longer they could stay in the house, how longer they could finish their education. Then you see that this kind of women, if you read my book and you have seen it, then you see they are beautiful persons. They are doing such a great work in Pakistan. People should be grateful to them instead of having their objections or having their judgments.
Yeah. And I remember during the process of writing that book, you visited my village as well. I still remember that.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful visit. Yeah, tell about your. She was your. Also, people in the West also don't know that, and perhaps in Pakistan also, women Sufis. Tell about your. Tell about your grand. What was she? Your grandmother?
Yeah, we will discuss it someday when I will not be hosting the show, but giving my interview. Right now, I would love to ask you about what is the feedback of your book from West, especially in Netherlands.
No, it seems that we don't have so much many transgenders as you in Pakistan, and that's, I think, not quite possible. I think it's also a problem in the West that they hardly feel accepted. It's better to marry. It's better to start with a relationship, hide it. People start laughing, people start giggling. There's often people don't understand the difference between a travestite or a transgender. I also find out in my discussions, also since Inaya lives in the Netherlands, she went to the Netherlands. She was a part of many discussions. We do in the West, we accept, but we also hardly accept because a transgender in the Netherlands, I think, often has to make a choice because they go for an operation. Here I see transgenders, a lot of them don't want to go for the operation because they are a transgender. That is their identity.
Yeah.
And in the Netherlands, you also see examples of people who have committed suicides because they also felt they are not accepted. And you also see that that's also a chapter of my book. It's about the asylum centers in the West. How many transgenders are coming from Latin America, from the Middle East? They are in these centers, and they feel again that they are discriminated. They are even raped. I have spoken with people who are raped in asylum centers in the Netherlands. So it's a big issue. I think we should all discuss about this. It's not a problem in Pakistan, but we also don't tolerate them. And why not? What you say? Why should you hate somebody? Why should you laugh about somebody? What is the problem if you are a gay? Why? What is the problem if you are a man and you love a man? If you are a woman, you love a woman. What's the problem? It's about. I think life is about love, and it doesn't matter if you love your own gender.
So after that book, a journalist turned into author, and then author become an entrepreneur. So now you're working.
Now you make an introduction that I'm a confused person.
I guess you're not confused person. I guess you like change.
No,
and this is how the life goes.
Yeah, it was time. I started when I was 22 as a journalist, and I'm 55 now. I was always thinking I can't do anything else in my life. My only talent is being a journalist. And then I found out, again, making the combination journalist, writer, traveler, explorer. I felt in love, I don't know why, with your Pakistani rural area, with your village life, sitting on the charpai, drinking my chai.
Even lassi.
If I go to the village, I always feel so relaxed and so peaceful. So I was thinking, why not starting trips, tours, bringing people to the village, instead that you book a hotel room or you go to a guest house who is from somebody out of the village. You sleep in the house of the villagers. You eat from the plates of the villagers. You buy their handicrafts. You use them as guides. You use them as source of wisdom. And with their money, or with your money, you help to develop this village life.
And
then Corona came, so it's now a little bit tricky. But when Corona is settled down, I move on. And I have fun. I go to so many places. I meet so many people. I have a happy life.
And that's right. In this kind of business, which you started, the most for me the most beautiful catch is the rural fragrance, that feel of the rural life. Purity is there, beautiful sights are there, climate is good, and I agree. Pakistan is a beautiful country. We have all the shades, all the seasons. Even sometimes our prime minister claims that we have 12 seasons.
Yeah, but you also, and then you have to be honest. You also have there's Pakistan there are two Pakistans. You have the urban, and you have the rural. If I talk with some Pakistani about my project, and they say, it's nice, it's very nice what you are doing, but we will not go to the village because, according to our opinion, a Pakistani village is dirty. We're not going to sleep on the charpai. And then I think you don't know.
Maybe.
Most of you are from the village, but you don't know your village.
Oh yes. But as far as I'm concerned, I love my village and I love my village's life. Even
you have a beautiful village with your Sufi shrine of your grandmother.
Yeah, and that's very peaceful place. Whenever I feel shattered or sometimes I feel uncomfortable in life, that is the place where I gain my energies back. I have
True.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. So how this venture is going on? How many spots you have right now in your list, and how many? I guess I remember we have discussed this about my village as well, and we will in future we will work on it. But right now, how many spots are there in your list?
I've been to your village also, because a part of my I do all kinds of tours. Let's say now the pilot project is in Texla and surrounding Ghanpur Lake, because there you have the center of Kandara, your Buddhist history. Thousands years before already, centuries before Christ was born and after. You have so many Buddhist sites. So it's I call it a Buddhist heritage tour. What you can do, you can walk, you can do it on the bicycle, you can go with your car. You can do all things in this area. The Ghanpur Lake, you have mountains, you have a river, beautiful villages. I also I'm working with all people, all kinds of people there in this area. So you also can stay in an luxurious house if you want. But I make it. It's a kind of Buddhist heritage tour that's perhaps already starts from Swat. That you can go from Swat, Madan, Swabi, Haripur, Ghazi. You go to Texla. You can do a whole tour.
Yeah.
And what I found out also is that for especially the Buddhist countries like South Korea and Sri Lanka, for them, what for you is Mecca, is for them Texla and surrounding.
Yeah.
So that's a very Japan. Oh, don't forget Japan. So I hope I already was in contact with the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka. He wanted to come with a whole team. We wanted to do a bicycle tour, but then Corona came. So Corona is a little bit, but that's for all of us. So that's what I do with you. What I would love to do with you is this Sufi shrine tours. For my book, I went to many shrines through whole Pakistan. And I think it's not only the Sufi tour that you're going to see all these beautiful shrines, but it's also, and that's also a part of my book, and perhaps it's the main story of my book. It's to show that Sufism is the how can I say the cradle of Pakistan. It's the roots of your culture.
Yeah, true, very true, very true.
So
and
it shows we always talk about the other side of Pakistan, about too much highlights on the militant side and the conservative side, but look how many people are going to Sufi shrines. Look how the Sufis came and with them the Islam. And how
and there is
how
a very
much,
vibrant Sufi culture exists. Like you will see drum beating, you will see dhamal, you will see kawali going on, you will see people.
I love it. Yeah,
people are coming and there is no discrimination in it. No one will ask you where are you from, what is your language, what is your religion. Only they will ask, are you hungry? Are you
No.
thirsty? Are you restless? You want to have some rest? You want to have some food? You want to drink something? So their concern will be only they would love to serve you. That's it. And then you are free to move there. You want to have meditation, you can have it. You want to visit around, you can go. No one will stop you. So that's very vibrant Sufi culture, which is they're they're deep rooted in our society. I agree.
Yes. Yes. So it shows your history, and therefore history is so important. History shows how a tolerant country Pakistan is, not was, but is.
Yeah. And
So I think with this kind of Sufi tours, it's not only for the domestic tourist. I also hope the same with this Buddhist tourism. I also hope with Sufi tourism.
yeah,
And perhaps in the Netherlands we can make a start, because we have this. The board, the international board of Sufism, is in the Netherlands. It's in The Hague. I would love if these people would come to Pakistan, and especially we can go to Sindh. We can go to Lahore, we can go to so many places of this more beautiful, simple shrine of your grandmother and sit there under the tree, meditate, listen to each other. And that's also tourism. That's also tourism. That's also holiday. Holiday is not sitting on a terrace and drinking beer or sitting on the beach. Holiday is also relax and do what you want to do.
Even sometimes finding yourself out.
Yeah,
That's
I think that's
holiday.
much more important. True.
Discovering yourself. And sometimes if you're not feeling well, composing yourself is a holiday.
And that's also what I hope with my holidays is because I feel it. If I'm in a stress, if I'm hurt or anything else, and especially when I'm in nature, if I'm in the shrines, I'm in these Buddhist places, if I'm in your old fort, your Mughal palaces, doesn't matter what. If I'm sitting there under a tree and just enjoy the nature, it's like my battery is recharging.
Yeah, true that. True that. And Wilma, let me ask you something. What was your worst experience during your whole career of journalism, and what was your most beautiful experience in the career?
My worst experience, and I will tell you, I'm never going to do this again, was the tsunami many years ago. During Christmas, that I was at that moment, I was based in Indonesia. It was Christmas morning, and immediately I had to go to Aceh. If I'm talking with you again, I get the goosebumps. It's so many devastation, so many dead people, so many people who were missing, and this smell. It's like, how many years ago is it now? 15 years.
Yeah, around 15
yeah
years. Yes.
it's like this smell of these people. It's never getting out of my system, and sometimes I still at night I have this moment that I never forget. I came by car in the capital of Aceh, the northern place of Indonesia, where all this babies, this bodies of these babies were there, their toys were there, this in the whole every street. It was. I wanted to go. I was thinking, I can't do this. That was I think that was a moment that I was already thinking about, is this my work? Is it my work? Earthquakes, natural disasters, always going to places where it's bad. That was always at the end that I was thinking, I want to make a switch of my career. It's like good news is no news. It's always the bad news. I see since Pakistan, it's quiet. Terrorism is finished. the world is not interested anymore. If I come now with stories about cultural stories, they say, no, it's too far away. People don't understand this.
Yeah.
So it's like that's sometimes what I feel. We have so much information,
Yeah.
but we are not becoming smarter. It looks like people are becoming more stupid. Stories in the paper are becoming more simple, too simple. There's no discussion, there's no discourse, there is no
there's no intellect.
How can I? No, there's no intellectual discussion anymore. It has to be a simple ABCD story.
Yeah. Ripping someone's clothes off and making a scandal or projecting someone in a negative way, that's a hot cake and easy to say.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what
If
was,
if I want to pitch a story, I know exactly how to pitch a story. I know also in all my career, I know how to get my story on the front page. But I think, do I still want to make this kind of stories? Always, it has to be sensational. People have to cry. It has to be miserable. I think it's also a stage. It's also a stage in your life. I also think when you pass your 50s, it's true. If you pass your 50s, you want something different. I call it that's the time you're going to harvest. You have made your career. You have done what you wanted to do, and now it's a time to relax. Relax.
Right. True. And what was the best experience of your journalistic life?
Now. This is my best time of life. I still write stories. My writing this book about transgenders, it has given me so much joy, so much pleasure, also tears listening to the stories. But it was going to all the Sufi shrines, dancing and listening to the music. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't do sensational stories anymore. I do happy stories. I do. Because what I told you, I'm also an anthropologist. That's the stories I want to do. Stories that gives you a happy view, stories that teach you something, hopefully cultures, because we are from it. Your culture is different than my culture.
Yeah, true.
But it's our colors, and colors are making life so much better and so much pleasure. I learned from you, you learned from me.
True. That's great. What are you liking the most in Pakistan, except the rural life you like, the tourism you like? Other than that,
I think for outsiders, they don't understand not what I'm going to say now. It's your quality of life.
Yeah.
If I compare, you've been to the West, so you know what I'm talking about. What I miss in the West is the quality of life. It's everything is organized. It's so organized. We know already now. Next year, to which country we go for our holidays. We know already for Christmas what we're going to eat and what kind of clothes we're going to wear. And if I want to meet friends in the Netherlands, I have to make an appointment in advance. And sometimes they tell me that the coming 6 weeks, their agenda is fully booked. Here at 5 o'clock, I'm thinking, I want to go out. I want to meet my friends. Even I don't have to call them. I just can go to their house. I even don't have to ring the bell. I just walk inside. I can sit on the sofa. I can eat. I can sleep.
Yeah. And if you are reaching at 5, they won't leave you before dinner.
Yeah. That's what I like. That I can move around. And if I'm fed up, if I want to go home, I can go home. And I like it here. I like the way you are connected with each other. I feel with my Pakistani friends, I feel like they're not only my friends, they are also my family.
Yeah, that's tradition in Pakistan. Friends are family.
Yes, yes. I
We don't.
feel there's a backup. I never feel alone.
Yeah.
When Corona started, a lot of not Pakistani people, European, were asking me if I wanted to go back to the Netherlands now. I said, my life is here.
Yeah.
My daughter goes to school. She has her friends here. I have my friends here. Why should I go back to the Netherlands?
Hmm.
And I feel also if something is going wrong, or if I have to go out and my daughter stays at home, my friends are taking care of her.
Yeah. That's normal.
I even don't have to ask.
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal in Pakistan. That's normal in Pakistan. Even you can
Yeah.
drop your daughter to any friend's house. They will take care of her until you are back. So that's normal in Pakistan. And that's the beauty of our culture, which you identified rightly. Uh, what you miss here?
What I miss. The only thing I sometimes miss is on Saturday sitting on a terrace having a nice salad with a glass of white wine.
So you have that privilege, no? You can
Yeah, but yeah, at home.
at home, okay, not
At
outside.
home,
You
not
miss
outside.
sitting outside in the public
I miss
restaurant, right?
outside, missing outside with a bottle of wine on the. Yeah, it sounds perhaps stupid, but that's what I miss. That's the only thing. If you ask me, what do I miss? Of course, I miss my friends. I miss my mother. I miss my sister and my brother. But that's another way.
Hmm.
But what I miss in my daily life is sometimes that glass of wine on a terrace in the sun. And for the rest, I don't miss anything because everything what I need, it's here.
That's great. That's great. So here is a friend from who is asking. I guess that question is for you, Asfandyar Arslan. How are you? Asfandyar Arslan is asking, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
So that's great. So, any other book in the plans?
Oh yeah. I've many plans that I want to. Yeah. I since I have read a book about nah, Noor Jahangir,
Mm-hmm.
because your history hardly mentioned her,
Noor
and
Jahangir.
she was such an incredible woman. She was not only a fighter, she was sitting on her elephant when she was married with Jahangir.
Hmm.
She was ruling the country because Jahangir was not so, how can I say? He was drinking too much, so she was more the ruler, but she was not only a ruler, she was a designer, she was an architect, she was
Hmm.
a writer. And if you look in your history of Pakistan, you have many of this kind of women.
Yeah, of course.
So I would
Women.
love to make a book about strong women, going back to the history till now.
Trust me, women were very strong in Pakistani history, and even today, women is
They
strong.
are very strong.
By
They
the
are
way,
very strong.
Saad Khan, a mutual friend, he is asking about your next trip or tour. He is
He
interested.
can go every time when he wants, because the only problem is that we have to go to isolated houses because of Corona. But
Mm-hmm.
if people want, I organize a tour. We go to Ghanpur, we go to the Buddhist sites, we go to the lake. As long we don't go in the middle of the villages to be too connected with people, because I think that's too tricky. Because the Corona is going down now in Pakistan, it goes very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please
As
come join.
And Saad Khan just reminded me about his spiritual path. He is associated with a spiritual leader, and that whole lineage of that Sufi order has deep roots in Holland as well. You know,
Yeah. In
Pir
Katwijk.
Inayat Khan's in Kotwijk.
Yeah.
There's a Sufi
Yeah.
temple in Kotwijk. And by the way, you were talking about some Universal Sufi Council, which is based in Holland.
Yes.
I am the
Yes. I
co-chairman of that
also.
Sufi Council.
Yes, I also have written a part about it in my book about.
Dr. H.J. Between.
Yes, he died recently.
Yeah. We were the people who founded it. I was with him. I am still the co-chairman of that organization. That's Universal.
Yeah, it brings also, because he was from India. Subcontinent, Indian side. So it brings also Pakistan and India together. I think Sufism, I don't know, can play a part in a good dialogue between India and Pakistan, bringing peace.
True. I'm a strong advocate of Sufi diplomacy. Not even with India and Pakistan, Pakistan and Afghanistan, but even Pakistan and Israel. We have the like joint heritage of Sufism. Do you know that Pakistani Sufi? There's a compound in Israel which is like which was built and owned by Khwaja Farid of Pakpatan. So we have our Sufi heritage, very much pure Pakistani Sufi heritage in Israel right now. So we have the Sufi diplomacy is a very powerful tool. I wonder why people don't, or states don't use that Sufi diplomacy to make their relations normal. And here Saad Khan is mentioning about that Inayati Sufi order.
Yes, yes.
That order is Inayati Sufi order of Pir Inayat Khan.
Because in India you have Kashmir, this famous Sufi place.
Yeah.
It's not that far from Delhi. Even the train goes there. And what I often saw when I was in India, how many Pakistanis are coming to this shrine if they get a visa. Now it's impossible, but
unfortunately.
Yeah.
How was India? How did you find India? How was India for you?
I loved it. Really. It's
very vibrant,
it's such
colorful.
Yeah, it's such a country with so many colors. All this, if you go to the south, to this Kerala, it's like Indonesia with the rice fields. Tamil Nadu, it's like you are in Sri Lanka. To the north, where the Dalai Lama is, one of my most favorite places in the mountains. Rajasthan, with all these old palaces of the Maharajas and the Maharanis.
Yeah.
Kashmir, beautiful, one of the most. When I was a student, I was a backpacker, and one of my first trips, I went to India and I went to Kashmir. I still remember, I think I was 19 years old, 20.
Oh.
When I went to this Kashmir place, yes, that was at the time there were no tourists because there was just then the conflict was already there.
Yeah, the conflict was there for the last like 70 years.
Yeah. So I often went, when I was a correspondent, I often went to Kashmir to do stories, but the Indian government didn't like it. When the foreign correspondents were making stories about Kashmir, then always we had to go to Foreign Affairs. They were giving us a negative advice. They say, if you move on with this kind of stories, we're not going to extend your visa.
Okay. So there was a continuous threat.
There was always, yes. That was also one of the reasons that after 5 years, they were only giving me a visa every time for 3 months because they didn't like my stories. I was writing stories about poverty. They say we don't have poor people. I was writing stories about Kashmir, what they didn't like. But India, it was a great time, really. From all the places I've been, and I also remember at that time I went often to Pakistan also. Then I crossed by feet the Warka border. And when I was in Pakistan, I told the people I'm living in India. They always wanted to know everything about India. My landlord in Delhi came from Lahore. Every time when I came back from Pakistan, I had to go to him, drink tea with him. Then he was crying because he was missing in Pakistan so much. So you see, it's in the hearts of the people. There is love for each other. There is no hate.
Yeah.
It's on a high political level.
Yeah. And here is a friend, Khalid Salim. India and Pakistan conflict is of politicians, not the public. So it's not a public conflict, it's a conflict by...
Never.
And by the way, Wilma, I would like to ask you, you have been in Indian occupied Kashmir. You must have visited Kashmir of this side as well. If you compare both the parts of Kashmir, what is the conclusion? How would you compare both parts?
There are also in at the Kashmir side of Pakistan, people also want to have their independence. There are people who want to be a part of Pakistan. There are people who want to be reunited with Indian Kashmir. But there are also people who have told me Pakistan Kashmir is another Kashmir than India Kashmir. We want to have our own Kashmir.
Yes, people are of that view. That's right. But
so it's a very, very difficult discussion. Very difficult. Yeah. And the problem is also it's very difficult to make, as a journalist, an open story about it. Because also here in Pakistan, the story about Kashmir is sensitive. In India, it's sensitive, and in Pakistan, it's sensitive.
Even now in China, it's sensitive.
Yeah.
Because Chinese are the third player in that conflict. And they came up very strongly now.
Yeah, because they're also fighting at the border with India. Yeah.
Yeah. So, until 2015, you came in Pakistan and lived here for last 5 years. So, when you came in Pakistan, the terrorism was there and a panic was there. And now things are going smooth, comparatively. How did you feel and what do you think about it? And what do you foresee the future of Pakistan, where we are going?
I think there was already a lot of progress, but then Corona came, and that's now for all over the world. I think Corona has changed everything.
Yeah, Corona has changed the world.
Yeah, Corona has changed the world, and it's. If you look at the economic situation, if you look at Pakistan now with your informal sector, with your daily workers, but also in the middle class, there are so many people who have lost their job, have lost their income.
Yeah.
So we can have a whole discussion and whole intellectual discussion what Corona has done with us. That perhaps it was for us very good that Corona came because we were more thinking about life. It was too commercial. Life was too much about the materialistic side and all these kinds of things. But let's be honest, Pakistan, 40% has to live with less than $2 a day. So I think there will be a tough time.
Yeah.
After all this terrorism, now yeah.
Unfortunately, we are not realizing that Corona is there and it will remain there. So we need to learn how to live with it.
Yeah.
as soon as we learn how to live with it, we will be in a comfort zone. But if we don't realize that corona is there and we start living the normal life again, which we used to live before the pandemic, that will be a disaster.
Yeah, but you see, even with Corona, I traveled a lot. Been to
Hmm.
Karachi. I just came back from Swat today. Um, I see there are places where people are taking distance from each other, where people are wearing the mask. But don't forget, in most of the villages, people hardly travel. People from outside are not coming, so there the situation is much better. I
That's
also
true.
went to Lahore to do a story about that. In Lahore, most of the corona patients are not the poor, but are the rich. Because they still
Hmm.
go to the weddings, they still go to the shopping malls, they still have their parties.
Yeah. And I was on a visit last week. I went in some rural areas and then Lahore and then came back. Trust me, I have seen people with masks in rural areas, and I have seen hundreds of people, mm, just in bazaars and markets of Lahore. They were careless. They don't have masks. There was hardly
Yeah,
sanitizers available, and that's Lahore, which is known as a city, metropolitan city.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in the
with
rural
millions of
areas,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
in the small villages, I have seen people like they are going on motorbike, having their masks. They are in shops having their masks. So it was kind of like people living in villages are more aware about the health and the concerns of uh, life. But in cities, my experience is bad. Like for Lahore, there is a joke that this is a city where Corona is like confused because people are not people don't have any second thought about Corona. They are still thinking that it is some kind of uh,
a
conspiracy
joke, I
and
heard.
yeah,
A joke. Somebody asked me
yeah,
if Corona is a joke. I said, what?
yeah,
What? And so many people are dying all over the world. But then we're talking about information, eh? A lot
yeah.
of people don't have, um, they don't read, they don't have papers. They even can't read.
But now the world is changed, Wilma. You don't need to read a paper. It's in your palm, your mobile phone. Everything
Yeah,
is there. You are watching videos on social media apps. You have YouTube. You
yeah.
have so access of information has a new face now, and that is, I guess, everywhere it's available. The net packages are in Pakistan. They are like in pennies. Everyone has it. You will find a person who is having a donkey cart and but still with a smartphone.
True. But how is he using this smartphone? Is he using this a bit because if you can't read, then you also don't you can't read the paper, and still 54% the Pakistanis can read and write.
Yeah.
So I think
But
radio,
yeah,
I'm in love with radio. I think radio can do a lot. With radio, you can make education programs, but you have to make it so nice that people want to listen to it
I
because
beg
people
to
want to
differ
learn. That's
now.
also what I see. That's also what I see in the villages. People want to learn. People want to
Yeah,
learn. People are smart. They are smart.
they are smart people, and I beg to differ with your opinion. I am in love with video, as you said you are in love with radio. I am in love with video. So the video packages, small video
True.
packages on Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, those are very effective because I don't know people tune in radio on their cell phones or not, but they watch video on Facebook, they watch video on Instagram, they watch video on YouTube. So that is more effective tool now to
Yeah.
spread your
Yeah.
word and to spread awareness. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I
No, I agree
that's my
with you.
opinion.
People love videos. This TikTok. TikTok. What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. TikTok.
It's very
That was
popular, so you can use it also to make all kinds of funny education programs to explain and tell people.
So, are you not thinking to start a vlog, Wilma, as a traveling vlog or some kind of vlog? You should have.
Yeah. I'm. That's a part now of my travel business now with a good friend.
Yeah.
We are working on an setting up a magazine online, a travel magazine online. It's giving information, but also writing blogs, doing videos, podcast,
Okay, that's wonderful.
interacting with travelers who are coming to Pakistan, interacting with travelers who want to come to Pakistan. There are a lot of females who want to travel alone.
That's great.
Pakistan is a
That's
perfect country to travel alone as a female because it's safe.
yeah. Comparatively, if you
My
compare it,
hobby is still anthropology, so I also
yeah.
want to, yeah.
If you compare us with our neighbors, we are a safe country for women. Like
Yeah, if you
Delhi is
ask me what's the
known as
difference,
a rape capital.
yeah, it's
Unfortunately.
true. It's true. When I was living in Delhi, I never went out on my own in the evening. And here in Islamabad, where I am, I do. I feel safe. I do.
So thank you, Wilma, for your time and the efforts you are doing. That are really, these efforts are very valuable for every Pakistani. Uh, you are uh, you are an ambassador of Pakistan in your circles, and I appreciate your courage. And the courage was there. So many times you discussed and you just randomly said your age, and that's a bravery in Pakistan that a woman is announcing her age again and again, again and again. Here, here is a trend to hide it.
No, I feel a happy 50-year. It's the best. What I said, it's the best time of my life. I don't have
Yeah.
to pretend anymore. I don't have to make career anymore. I don't have to do anything anymore. I just can enjoy my life.
Now that's great. That's great. We wish you a happy life, a successful life, and may Allah bring your dreams, uh, and you will enjoy your dreams with your open eyes. So my best wishes, and hope to see you soon in person.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Wilma. Bye bye.
Bye bye.